because it's the last session before the coffee and questions, so let's be a little bit of energy. So we are going to speak about food waste from a different perspective, from the perspective of packaging and active packaging. So it's different. We need a lot of data points as well, and we need to act in a very precise way. So we are a company that we have been over 75 years into the market with a little bit of history. We are in 20 countries, so it helps us to have a good footprint and innovation teams all over that can really look at different trends, different technologies, and put things together. We work with all types of customers. It can be very small or very big, and we have mainly 3 axes. We work for pharma, for closures, and for beauty. And what is nice is that we can leverage technologies all across. And you would say, okay, what it is about food waste, right? Across these technologies, we have a branch that works specifically in material science. And material science is about getting chemistry solutions that it's not additive in order to have an impact into the package. Leo said very well, and I'm just repeating a little bit the questions. The global food waste, it's around 1/3 of the total world food. It's 1.3 billion tons, and it's $1 trillion, which is good. It's the same data. So it's. When we look a little bit into the details, we can see that 45% of this waste is in fruits and vegetables, 35% in seafood, 30% in cereals, and then it's dairy and milk. And guess what? When we go one step further, the biggest waste, food waste, is in all of us at home. It's 43%, and 40% in restaurants, grocery stores, and food service companies. Whereas farms and manufacturers, as per these statistics, is very low. It's lower, it's 18%. So in this, we were reflecting a few years back, and we said, if we work on packaging, maybe we can extend the shelf life applying material science. And that's what we have done in the last 10 years. We have been working on solutions for food waste that, in order to be affordable, we took the technologies from pharma that we have been developed for many years, and we transposed it to food. And how active packaging can help for the food waste? First, on food safety. It's more, you could say, okay, food waste is very important, but food safety is as well, because if you don't waste it, but you eat it and you are ill, then it's a problem. So in food safety, we have 2 key things. We have antimicrobial. We need to work on antimicrobials, and also to remove preservatives, because they are not good for health. And second, we have the food protection, where sometimes, in order to reduce the food waste, we need to work in different aspects. We can work in moisture protection to protect the product from moisture, to control the relative humidity. Sometimes it's a question of a balance between the CO2 and the oxygen within the package. And sometimes we need some properties to enhance the aroma, to scavenge odor or put odor. And all these together can extend the shelf life of a product. And of course, you would say, one of, I don't know whom said yesterday, and it is going to be less plastic. Yes, the good thing would be to do this with a possibility to reduce 90% of plastic and to have a recyclable and even compostable packaging. So we have been working on that, and today we are going to review 2 key technologies. There is a few more, but those are the 2 key ones we thought it was good for this. So the first one is the 3-phase polymers. I don't know if you heard about it. So it is a technology that we use polymers, and in the polymers we have what we call the 3-phase. There is a channel, and in the channel we put an active component. If you look in a microscope, it will look like that, what you see in the middle of the screen. And we could put an active component in order to absorb or control the moisture, scavenge oxygen, CO2, or ethylene or others, to have an antimicrobial solution there, and also, as I said before, emitters or other removers. So this is the basic technology that we can use to add into a package to extend the shelf life. And you're going to say, okay, how does it work? It works in a very controlled way, because in order to kill bacteria or control the moisture into a package to extend the shelf life, you need to do it in a controlled way. So you need to have a control in the kinetics. I don't know if you're aware about kinetics. So they have to be controlled, and you need to have a lot of data points to be able to affine this technology. And this would be, for instance, if we take the case of antimicrobial, you can, with active packaging, you can kill or eliminate at least 3 logs of bacteria in Salmonella, E. coli, Listeria monocytogenes, Vibrio, Yersinia, or others. And also, there is other the same technology, but with different dosage, that you can kill up to 5 logs, which means if you do that, you really extend the shelf life of the product. And for instance, after 17 days in a paper, you could have, without anything, what you see on the right-hand side, and with the technology of active packaging, you could see that it's really acting. Of course, you need to be very, very careful about the data points. We need to load a lot of data points in order to be able to get modeling and improve the technology over the years, and also as the bacteria or the oxygen criteria moves. You can add this active packaging in any kind. It can be packaging agnostic. And last but not least, you need to have the possibility to apply it into a package in an automatic way, because guess what? What Rodolfo what you were saying before, Roberto. Yeah, scalable. Yes, we need to be scalable. You need to be efficient, and you need to be profitable, because if you are not, the stakeholders and the share value will decrease. So at the end, we need to be very careful about the end line on how you implement it. So at the end, it's just how you go from an idea to a very concrete way of applying it, and in a profitable way. And that's what active packaging can do. So this is one of the technologies. Can be applied for many commercial products, as you can see in the screen, and also not only fruits and vegetables, but also plant-based burgers or spices to keep the color and bacteria in frozen foods a lot. So that's one of the technologies that we can apply active packaging. And the second technology can be also absorbents. There are absorbents and active packaging absorbents that can solve some problems in food service, in retail or home delivery, because each channel has their own problems, and we need to give the specific solutions to them. And the active packaging can help to, for instance, this is one example, for instance, in Walmart. Walmart came to us 4 years ago, and they told us, oh, we want to sell fresh seafood, but we want to reduce the 20% of the supply chain cost, and we want to sell in the same package fresh. And this is possible with the active packaging. So you package at source in Indonesia, in Vietnam, in Ecuador, in India, whatever, frozen in one package that will be exactly the same package that the consumer, for instance, in a Walmart in the US, will be buying fresh. And on top of that, in a way that when it's defrosted, the extra liquid it is consumed, and there is no bacteria. So this is again another technology that we have. It's not on agriculture, but this. And at the end, what it is very important is that in the supply chain, for instance, in the retails, they can really, truly, with data, prove that the markdowns have decreased and that the revenues, if it is possible, have increased. And that's it about the active packaging. Then, last but not least, you have to ensure, of course, with this kind of active packaging, that bacteria log, it's truly decreasing, and this is through data and modeling. and this is the way we apply in a very concrete way. Also, the texture of the fruits, vegetables, or the proteins as well. And last, super important, the consumers. The consumers need to have and will buy more product that it seems to be better quality, better color, and also that it's easy to handle and that they feel comfortable with. And that's it.
Delia, thank you so much. Yeah, we have a few minutes for questions if anybody has. Over here, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question for Julie. When you were speaking about traceability, you didn't mention anything about mass balance traceability, which in my opinion is a patch to avoid real traceability. So when you say that traceability is not expensive, I really disagree. I think that traceability, when it's done properly, not as a patch, which is mass balance, that most of the people don't understand, so probably you can explain it. It's pretty expensive because the logistics in most of the countries are not prepared for detailed traceability. Lack of storage, lack of transportation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for the question. It's very interesting. Indeed, so one thing is the price of the traceability system itself. That is a digital system that gathers data and allows access to that data across supply chains. And another thing is the operational changes required to enable traceability itself. So ideally, in a world where all, for example, if we are talking about soy, because mass balance and all this discourse, it depends very much on the commodity we are talking about, right? So if the 100% of soy sourced was deforestation-free and sustainable, we wouldn't need to be dividing the volumes. This happens when we have a very little percentage of sustainable or deforestation-free soy that we want to demonstrate and sell it at a premium price, that we need to change all the operational systems in order to be able to kind of transport and ship this volume in a separate way. Yes, I didn't want to go into very deep technical details, but there's this concept of mass balance traceability where you want to differentiate one volume of the product because it has special features and it's sold with different conditions. And then there's different ways to address this. We can have a physical differentiation of this volume, which is what makes it very expensive. Or I have been working with a Brazilian startup. What it does is to tokenize this volume of sustainable product, and they sell the token, the digital version of this sustainable percentage of product, right? So then it is true that the one who is buying this volume at a premium price is unlikely to be receiving the real sustainable product physically, but it's a way to deal with the issue at the short term. But ideally, we should be changing the whole food system to be able to segregate the volumes according to different criteria.
But I think most of the people believe that when they buy traceability and their mass balance, they know the cholesterol level of the farmer who basically planted things. And when you're buying mass balance, you are buying a certificate, basically. You are buying a paper saying that a percentage of the originator comes from a region, and then everything is mixed, and you receive a certificate. So I think most of the people, when they buy my balance, they believe that they are buying traceability, and they don't know what they are buying. And I think it's important for us to highlight that because otherwise people are confused.
There is opportunity for improvement indeed, and in fact, many of my colleagues are not agree with the mass balance approach, and they don't consider this as traceability. And this is why I haven't mentioned it at all, because I don't want to kind of be positioning myself in that regard. But as I say, it depends very much on the commodity. Coffee and cocoa, we are buying the whole beans. It's very easy to kind of keep tracing, and they are very high value commodities, and this is why they have premium prices that can support the costs of traceability. When we are talking about soy, for example, which is one of the most difficult commodities to trace or at least to segregate, we need to have into account that 80% of the soy produced globally is used to feed livestock. So most of the soy that is driving deforestation is used to feed livestock in the meat industry. So we are eating meat that contains huge amounts of soy that is driving deforestation, but we even don't know that there's soy inside the meat. And the thing is that what we are trying to do is kind of align these requirements globally, because if Europe is requiring traceability, but China it is not, for example, what will happen is that the uncompliant products will leak to another market that is not setting these
But this is why real traceability is very expensive. So if you have to segregate you have to, for example, I work on that, and if you have to segregate, for example, a specific quality in a specific truck, in a specific train, then you cannot rotate the port, so you start adding opportunity losses of all of that. So if I have a choice in Brazil between selling 20,000 tons of a very specific quality to Europe or to ship in a single month 400,000 tons of beans to China, it's a very clear choice. So you have to actually compensate for that. And in that line as well, I think if we believe in real traceability, we need to make a big effort to standardize sustainability. Because otherwise you face a tension between traceability, which makes things very efficient, and traceability. And that makes things more expensive. And the idea of having the final consumer buying from the small farmer is not realistic, because in most of the trading there is something called asynchronicity, where the buyer and the seller they don't want to deal at the same time, and this is why you have the Bunges, the ADM, the Cargills of the world coming in between in order to buffer that. So I think a big effort, in my opinion, should be devoted to standardize sustainability to make it workable, because otherwise I think we are going to make things very expensive.
Thank you.
Yes.
Scott, you have a question.
I have a question for Lior. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm interested in your suggestion that what's called dynamic pricing could reduce waste. Probably don't need to explain. Dynamic pricing is a euphemism for raising the price when you can get away with it during times of peak demand, and arguably lowering the price during times of less demand. I don't understand how this would reduce waste.
So there are companies that are doing it. They're actually reducing the cost of produce that is soon expired. Let's say you have a tomato that is supposed to go to waste in 2 days, and tomato that's supposed to be rotten in 5 days. So they are lowering the price for the tomatoes that are supposed to go to waste in 2 days, and in this way, they are encouraging people to buy the produce that is soon expired, and then waste goes down. Instead of people going for. Yeah?
No, just I'm much more comfortable with the idea of using dynamic pricing to reduce the cost of food that's healthy than I would be with dynamic pricing used to increase the cost during times of peak demand. And wanted to know if you meant both or just the one. Did you mean just the idea of reducing?
No, I meant lowering the price. Yeah, lowering the price for soon expired products to increase the demand.
Okay.
And there are companies who are doing it, and it's working very nicely.
Okay, and it encourages people to buy food that's still healthy and to eat it quickly. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's still good, when you go to the supermarket and you see the expiry date, so you want the newest product, but if the price is lower, so You say, why not? I will eat this avocado, I will eat this cheese today, instead of buying the other one.
Yes, that makes sense. I will only add that dynamic pricing has become a kind of terrible euphemism for a charade by retailers, and maybe just saying lowering the price of products that are about to expire might make it a little more attractive to people on the outside. Thank you.
Yeah,
think we have a
okay.
question
Thank
on
you
that.
for the suggestion.
Actually, a question probably for Julie and Delia together. Because I often get this as a seller, if you like, of primarily vegetables, but it could be anything else. I always ask, where do they come from? Can you prove it? And I'm just wondering if there's a combination of smart packaging and traceability that could be combined to help everybody.
Yes, indeed. There is two things. There is what you can put in the package. So there is the kind of package where if you package at source in the same package as you are going to sell in the point of sale, this is a very good way to have traceability. Another way of traceability is, as you were saying, the smart packaging with RFQF. I don't know in English how to say very well. So where you can really track where the product has been. The problem is when the products are processed, and this is where maybe Julie have placed. So one thing is, once it's in a package, you can track a package, but you cannot track in a package what it has been processed before entering into that. And this is where the traceability and the systems are so expensive to do so. Right, Julie?
Yes, in fact, the fresh produce are the easiest ones to trace because, yes, the entire piece of product goes to the supermarket, so you will tag it at the farm level or at another stage, but it is very easy to embed the information in the QR or in the barcode or in a RFQID.
RFQ.
Yes.
And there's a question
If
back
I
here.
may
Go on.
intercept on this, there is a question of price, which is not existing in high-value products, like wine, olive oil. That's where the traceability is specific, because I want to be sure that Bordeaux comes from that valley and not from the other one. So it's really a question of specific value of the product,
Yes.
making already today feasible the full traceability, and for the rest tomorrow. I agree with you, 20,000 against 400,000, nobody will discuss 20 seconds.
The concept of expensive or not expensive is very relative and it depends very much on the value of the commodity. But to be honest, all these big traders that you mentioned, that I won't be mentioning them because I have been working with them, and they have been very collaboratively, and they really want to kind of invest in making the change, but it is very challenging, and this is a reality. They have been making billions of profits for decades, so I don't think, obviously it's a huge investment, but the resources are there. And the food industry needs to change, and it needs to innovate anyway, because it's a very old system that is still running. And they are investing in digitalization anyway, so they can use kind of the same processes of innovation to then also include traceability. And as I said, ideally, we shouldn't need to segregate if all volumes met the requirements that we are asking for.
We have a question on that.
One question for Leon, another one for Delia. One for Leon is about the technology you showed. I think it's a artificial vision technology. So I was curious about it. Maybe you can share some details, and also if it is an old development or it's a commercial technology that you adapted to your application. And the question for Delia is about the compounds that you're considering to be included in your active packaging, and if some of them are coming from natural resources like bioactives from food byproducts or fibers to improve the physical properties of the package. So a little bit more on that. Thank you.
So about the technology, we're using hyperspectral and RGB image scanning combined with AI and machine learning algorithms and very deep knowledge in agriculture. So we're building the algorithms based on the agriculture knowledge, and we're using picture analysis with hyperspectral, which is much broad than regular RGB. We're selling it as algorithm, as a SaaS, or if possible, like if the customer wants, we're selling it also. We're building a machine that inside there are the lenses, and so each customer can choose what he needs, which kind of machine he needs, or only the algorithms.
And for the other part of the question, the answer is yes. We are working. In fact, what I saw today, it's a polymer. And in this polymer, we need to do the channels, and in the channels to put the active component. And this is something that today a polymer, a PP, can hold. Our research teams are working on that to see if we can do in fiber or other polymers. What we are putting the efforts as sustainability, and in order to reach our Ellen MacArthur goals, is to work on the full package, because this small strip is nothing, right, versus the full package. So we are working more on the full package, on this as well. And with the full package, we are going to be sustainable in 1 year, 2 years. This technology is going to take at least 2 to 3 years. So we are working on two things: alternative materials, as you were saying, but also putting the active component in a powder, and to be able to do blown in a film, in a recyclable and compostable films. So there's many technologies there that we are pursuing, and we are very advanced on that. We could share.
Did I see that? Are there any more questions around them? Yes, Beatrice.
Just a very quick question for Delia. Have you done some research on how it could affect consumer perception on freshness? Because as it extends shelf life, it could maybe influence. And just a comment on Neolithics and also your solution. Both the benefits are super clear, but at the same time, I hear these types of solutions frequently, and manufacturers still have a lot of barriers or reservations in terms of applying and incorporating these solutions. So why is that? Who should bear the cost?
Yeah, two parts for answering your question. The first is that, yes, we have done consumer study. And maybe I passed very quickly, but there is 2 slides on the... we have done a study on consumer preference with Kaplan. We work a lot with external companies. So with Kaplan, we have been working with them to prove externally how the consumer perception it is, and it has been very positive. So that's why we launched. And that's one part of the answer. And the second part of the answer is that, yes, we work on the... it is very important, as you say. The second part was the...
I was saying the benefits are clear, so what
the benefits are clear, yes.
Why don't manufacturers incorporate such solutions more?
Exactly. So in that part, what it is very important is that it is not an additive. So the brand does not have to put it into the label. And what we prove from a scientific point is that there is a positive benefit into the product inside, and second, that there is no migration into the product itself. So having proved that, the brands with which we are working, they are very confident. It gives confidence, and also the consumers see the benefit.
I think we should all go and get a quick coffee of that, and thank our audience. Thank our speakers, thank our audience. Thank our audience too. Thank our speakers.